Okay, so now I'm gonna do the Wackyrig. Now I'm gonna explain a little bit of detail what the Wackyrig does with the wacky tool and how I put an O-ring on this worm here to preserve the plastic. And also it's on a Wackyrig hook this time, not the actual small hook that I like to throw sometimes. This one actually has a little weight to it. So let's see. Small bass. He's not a giant or anything like that. A little small thing he got. But nonetheless, it came off the Wackyrig, wacky tool, Wackyrig worm. Little tiny little guy. Little small guy. Not huge. Okay, folks, the Orlando Puddle Jumper back here again. And I want to go over what I used this morning at the lake to catch a couple of fish right quick. So what I did was the old-fashioned Texasrig. Now I'm not sure if you folks, for beginners that are just getting started, a Texasrig has been around for eons. It's like the most basic go-to rig, and it's awesome to fish creature baits like plastics, specifically the rubber worms. Okay, so I also made this video out on the strength of the Yamamoto Senkos, the 5-inch Senkos I love to use. Now what I'm gonna do here right quick, I'm gonna put a Texasrig together. I also put a little graph on the screen there for us, which actually shows you the basics of a Polamar knot, right? And that's exactly what I like to use most of the time, is the Polamar knot. Now what I'm gonna put here is basically called a bobber stopper. It's a little tiny stud. You see a little stud there that you could put on your line. That one came off. So it's this little tiny stud here, and I'm gonna put this on the line, and this actually helps your tungsten, the weight that you put on the line, from sliding back and forth, or you could stop it from, that's exactly what it's made, so it could have less movement on it. It's used so you could punch through vegetation a lot easier without it getting caught up. And I'm just having a hard time here trying to get this through the loop, but what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna pull out some more here, and kind of want to take too long on this little part of the video. So the stud is gonna go on the line, and it's made, again, it's made to hold your, it's made to hold your bullet or your tungsten in place. So this is what it is, and I'm just gonna put one on there. Okay, so that's on the actual line there. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the weight, which is a tungsten. There's a 3/8 tungsten, I'm gonna put the weight on there as well. Again, you could put any type of weight depending on what you're fishing. If you could, wherever weight you feel comfortable fishing. I like to throw 3/8, use 3/8 on lakes that are not that deep as well, and it also gives me the kind of drop that I want on my lure as it goes down through the water column. And this is going to be a mustad. Now this is a 4/0 size grip pin hook. So I'll show you, put a picture of them, of the packets there. They come in different sizes. So what I want to do here on a Polamar knot, I'm going to go once through the eye of the hook, and then I'm gonna go right back through there on the opposite side, right back through there again. Hopefully you folks can follow along and see what I'm doing there. Now I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of slack on the back end, and I'm gonna hold the two ends together on the other side. Then I'm gonna go once over, I'm gonna cross over the line again, and that's going to create a little loop in the middle there in between. So I'm going to put the tag end right back in through that loop, and then I'm going to put the hook through the tag end, and that's pretty much it. And then I just pull on the hook so the line could go up, fall in place nice and neat, so I could tie up my Polamar knot on there. There it is. And that's just what's gonna happen. That weight is gonna drop down. I got my weight in place there, and the stud, the little stud on the end, I could bring that right, I could place it right up against the bullet weight, the tungsten, and it'll hold it tight in place there for me. Okay, and all you have to do is remove the excess line. When unfortunately I got my scissors, I put them in my bag. Hold on. Comfort level here. Just didn't want to take time to pull this out, so I just take this little scissors out and cut that little excess off. Sorry about that. Okay, so there you go. You have a Texasrig all set up, a piece of mind. Now, I caught the fish, that first fish on there, on an actual Senko worm. So this is, of course, how you thread the Senko worm. You go through the plastic, bust on the other side. Now, this hook, the mustad hook, the grip pin, come with a little stud on the back end to hold your plastic in place. This is another feature that I like about it. This worm is a little bit beat up. I'm using it just to practice purposes, and that's how you keep it concealed with the hook embedded inside the skin of the plastic. That way it remains weedless for you. And that's what we have there. That's the Texasrig, and that's the actual Senko worm on there. Now, it's very effective because with a Texasrig, you can actually put on there any plastic you want. Okay, you could use swim baits, you could use creature baits, any plastic you want, you could put on the end of a Texasrig. That's what makes that Texasrig like a go-to on any of your rods. If I was to give you one of the best hints ever, is at least have one of your rods hooked up with a Texasrig ready to go. and then you could use any of your plastics. Of course, I like to use my swim jigs and stuff like that, my finesse jigs, but that's neither here nor there right now. Basically, just always like have my best recommendation, at least have one Texasrig set up. If not, know exactly how to work with Texasrig, how to put a Texasrig together, 1, 2, 3. That's a go-to setup right there. Now, I also used the Wackyrig today. So this is with finesse. It's a wacky head. Actually comes with a little weed guard. This is Gamakatsu. So I actually love using these hooks. They're a little bit weedless because they have those little things. They're made to be a little bit weedless. But again, this is actually what I use with, and this is gonna be a little spin-off now. This is, I actually have what's called a wacky tool. Now these are the rings that come with the wacky tool. That's gonna be the wacky tool right there. Now I have my wacky tool somewhere in the back. Again, it's just stuck there back there with all my supplies and stuff. I have to dig around to get it, but this is what a wacky tube looks like. Now what it does is you want to put the worm in through the tube, and then it's made to have those O-rings slide across that tube and place one right on to the worm. So what you're looking at is something like this. You see that O-ring right there, right in the middle? So I definitely already have like a bag full of, I already had set up. That's where my wacky tool is on the other end, because I actually set up a bunch of my Senkos with the O-rings on them already. So I have that separate, set aside. Now what that does is actually helps you preserve your plastics. And I cannot express this, how much I could stress this out as much as I can for you folks. And I believe the wacky tool will be like the difference between you spending a lot of money on Senkos because you buy bags after bags, and how to maintain your Senkos preserved. Now I caught about 5 fish to 6 at one point on one single Senko. Now let that sink in for a bit, okay? Because you could just imagine when you rigging up your Senkos, you actually taking your hook, right, and you putting it right through the skin of the plastic. You're putting it through the plastic. Now when the bass hits it and grabs it, you know, they're going to be wrangling, shaking back and forth. That's going to tear that plastic into pieces. You're lucky to even get it back. Now that's not going to, of course, that's not going to tell you that you might not lose your rigged Senko with the O-ring on it, because chances are maybe the fish might somehow wrangle, and doing the process of reeling him in, you might lose the worm in the process, depending. But chances are that you'll keep it intact or really high as well. Now what I like doing, now this is a single hook, okay? This is a single hook. It's a little small hook that I like to use as well with my wacky rigging, but this is the one that's a little bit weighted. So the weighted one, what it does is I put that in combination with the O-ring, and of course I put the hook alongside that O-ring rather than into the actual bait. And what this does is, since it's a little bit weighted, it's gonna have that action on the back end, on both of the back end, as it makes its way down the water column. So you're gonna have that back end action going on as the worm drops at a different speed because of the actual weight on the wacky head, okay? Now, I also like to pitch it just with one single hook at times when I wacky rig it, just one hook, and the only weight is going to be the actual Senko. I ain't going to put no weight on it whatsoever. It's just going to be the Senko flowing freely through the water column, and it tends to get some big hits as well. So the reason I switch up sometimes is because if I see that the fish are being really finicky and they're not going after when I'm throwing it with the weighted, with a little bit of weight on it, because the fall rate is coming down a little bit faster, probably the fish is not reacting to it as much. So that's when I might turn and I just switch up the hook and throw it without the weight. And I tell you what, it's not rocket science or anything like that, but the outcome is a little bit different. I'm sure they get hit. So I'm sure they get a bite on the long end. But of course, that's what I wanted to do right quick. I just don't want to make the video extra long. Just wanted to give you guys some tips on how to preserve your Senkos. The wacky tool, it's a go-to thing. You probably find them in Amazon, put them in your cart. your mustad hooks. These are the Ultra Points. You see KVD on there. Those are the grip pin. I love to use those to rig up my my Senkos. They also have ones that come with actual weight on them. You see that is a 3/0. It actually has like, it's a 1/16 ounce. Has a little weight on the actual hook, and it has the grip pin on the back end as well. With one of those, I wouldn't even have to use my 3/8 tungsten. I actually just use the weighted hook and throw that Texas style rig. But also, folks, again, the Texasrig also helps catch a lot of fish. But yeah, that's I'm going to do a little quick review, a little quick rundown. Another good thing to throw Senko with before I let you guys go is a drop shot. Drop shot. This is actually a Gamakatsu. It's a swivel shot. Drop shot already comes with all you need to quickly tie on and get your drop shot on while you're fishing. If you have any questions, concerns, or anything, just hit me up, guys, and I will answer accordingly, and even do another follow-up video if we have to. Again, another quick tip. This is a Yamamoto, one of my favorite Senkos to toss, and it's the Houdini color. For some reason, the bass love this Houdini color worm. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Till the next one. Okay, look at that bass, and you know the scary part is there's so much weeds and those lily pads, and they're all over here as well, which kind of made it really challenging trying to get the fish out of the water in the first place. So he came off a Texasrig. I had a Texasrig setup. And that's what the old Texasrig looks like. The 1/0 hook, which is a grip pin KVD hook that I picked up in Mustad. I have a bobber stopper there, and also a 3/8 tungsten on there as well. But that's what we got.